Hi, my name is Lacy Asbill. Thank you for the introduction, Amanda. I'm coming to you live from my home in Oakland, where I have spent my career as an educator. And if you're joining me here today, it's because you, like me, are thinking about how we take advantage of this moment in history to better serve the academic, the social emotional, and the cultural needs of the young people we serve in our classrooms. So, my hope today is that my presentation can help kick off a conversation, leave us with some questions for reflection, support us to engage in some new practices in our work, and equip us with some strategies to help us build and create new experiences for the young people we serve. So I'll start out by sharing a little bit about our story is that I'm just one voice in a collective of educators who are on a mission, sharing and scaling the program that we created for and with the students that we serve here in the San Francisco Bay Area. We wrote Reading with Relevance, would have loved to have picked it up off the shelf somewhere else, but we wrote it because we couldn't find the tool that we needed to effectively engage the young people we were serving in our classrooms. Our students were coming to us at least 2 to 4 years below grade level in their academic functioning, but also with very real social and emotional struggles that felt way more important than school to our students. Through our experience, we came to believe that meeting students' social and emotional needs was the key to unlocking their academic potential. And today I'm here to share the underpinning strategies, the questions, the approaches that we have found so successful in serving the most vulnerable, high need population of students in our community. So we kick off this conversation during a moment in history in which educators individually and the education system itself have been forced to innovate in this rapid, widespread, and fiercely committed manner. Educators, students, and families are struggling to find a new normal in the midst of a state of emergency. And the experience has brought some deeply painful moments to many of us. My social media feed is full of the voices of educators who are working really hard, giving everything they've got, and feeling alone and isolated. Even though social distancing can make us feel like we're in this work on our own, we really are all doing this together, trying to take this moment to show up for our students, our families, and ourselves in unprecedented circumstances. So, as we personally and collectively manage this enormous, abrupt revision in how we do school, I advocate that we embrace this as a once in a lifetime opportunity to build true, equitable learning experiences that impact all of the young people we serve. With more than 55 million American students thrust into at home learning experiences, inequities in the opportunities, the experiences, and the resources available to our students have become even more glaring. The digital divide between young people who can access technology and those who can't threatens to widen our already persistent generational achievement gap. The fact of the matter is, we all know who will struggle to access this new digital classroom. So, as appealing as online instruction can be during these moments where we have real limitations on our ability to be together in community with our students, we must be mindful of the potential equity pitfalls that might lie along this path. A growing body of evidence suggests that online learning works least well for our most vulnerable learners. So, as we seek to create meaningful learning opportunities for our students at home, we must focus our collective energies on supporting our most vulnerable youth. So, that's what we're going to be talking about today. If there was ever a moment to center our teaching practice on social emotional learning, now is the time. SEL has the power to serve as a lever for equity in our education system because it validates, affirms, and respects our students' diverse experiences and identities. And SEL skills are urgently needed right now. Young people and adults alike need SEL skills to help us navigate the the emotions that we're experiencing, the fear, the anxiety, the loneliness, the grief, the loss brought on by this global pandemic. So, what are the SEL skills that are really critical for us right now? So, we all need the self awareness that we need to understand, recognize, and name our feelings in the moment, especially when tensions are high and our emotional world is chaotic. We also need the self management skills to be able to cope with our feelings, whether we choose to meditate or exercise or bake or snuggle with our pets to soothe our frayed nerves. We all need skills for coping with the emotions that we're experiencing. We need the social awareness to be able to empathize with the fact that others experience this moment really differently than we do, especially across differences in privilege, circumstance, and identity. We need the relationship skills to communicate and connect with others and to manage the inevitable conflicts that will come up while we're together in tight quarters. And finally, we need the ability to balance decisions that help us both achieve our individual goals, but also balance and navigate the difference between our individual desires and what is collectively good for our communities as a whole. If this sounds like a comprehensive framework for social emotional learning, it's because this is the research-based 5 core competencies developed and put forward by the Collaborative for Academic Social and Emotional Learning. These 5 skills, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making, are the same skills that we need whether you're my 2-year-old son or an adult trying to navigate what this moment in time means for us. So for those of us who are concerned about students missing academic standards right now, it can be tempting to attempt to power through the social context in which our students are learning. And this is oftentimes coming from a really good place of wanting our students to access the academic content and standards that is their right and that might help to close this achievement gap. And yet, SEL is the approach we must embrace if we are to effectively engage our most vulnerable students in a moment when so much weighs on them. So today we're going to talk about an integrated approach for uniting standards-based literacy instruction, diverse culturally relevant books, and social emotional learning. So we use diverse books as a tool for both supporting students' academic development of skills and their concrete skill building around social emotional skills. We know that when you take a diverse, culturally relevant book that mirrors the experiences of the students we serve, when we use that book to explore the social and emotional themes present in the text, that our students feel like they're participating in a cool book club where you talk about things that really matter, and we watch them develop reading fluency, comprehension, critical thinking, writing skills, and witness their increased social and emotional capacities and emotional intelligence as they navigate how characters understand conflicts in their lives and what coping mechanisms they use to deal with the challenges that they face, and reflecting on how those themes affect their own lives. So we're going to talk a little bit today about some strategies for uniting SEL and literacy for equity. So how can we use books to empower and connect with young people across physical difference? So the first is we start with culturally relevant literature. We think about picking books that mirror and reflect the experiences of the young people we serve in our communities. And all of us are coming to this conversation serving different communities. You might serve a lot of English learners or newcomers in your community like we do in our own. Presenting them with stories of young people grappling with those same experiences is incredibly powerful. You might serve students who are African American and Latino and have not seen enough books that center on their cultures, their experiences with characters who talk like people in their neighborhood, like in their families, who are dealing with real world social and emotional issues that they themselves are also grappling with. So thinking about the most pressing social and emotional needs of the students you serve, and what stories, what characters might be culturally relevant is a great place to start. Second, we think a lot about how to select accessible reading formats, especially right now where it isn't as simple as walking around the classroom and putting a book on every desk. So a lot of incredible authors in the diverse books movement, I'm thinking like Kwame Alexander or Elizabeth Acevedo, are on their social media accounts reading their books out loud for free every day. There are also some incredible audiobooks and ebooks with award-winning authors and narrators telling these stories aloud or making them accessible for easy digital download. So those are a couple of options. Many publishers have also opened up reading aloud and recording of their works by teachers to support in this era. So as long as you're not using it for any kind of commercial gain, tell the story aloud to your students and let them find a way that they can access that. And if digital options aren't the right fit for the students you serve, we have found that there's no better way than having hard copies of books available for young people to take home with them alongside free and reduced meals at their school sites. So the next topic is about thinking about using instructional methods that meet the needs of your learners. And again, we want to really center around the most vulnerable young people you serve. You might be in a position to pull all of your students together for a synchronous classroom conversation. Get everybody on an online platform where you can read aloud together, have classroom discussion, make meaning of the real world themes and topics in the books that you're reading. You might find that that's not an accessible option for all of your students, that there's digital access, but families are sharing devices at home. Students need to be able to access the content whenever they have time and ability. So asynchronous digital tools, different ways of being able to collect and monitor students' relationship with the text as they're reading independently. So whether you use something like a Google form or a reflective writing that's shared with you. There are some great tools that allow students to engage with these texts asynchronously and share with you. And for students who are not able to access any form of digital education during this period of time, the relationships they hold with us as their teachers are even more critical. So reaching out to all of the young people we serve, whether it's phone or a text message, and asking them how they're doing, how they're feeling, how reading is going, what they're learning, what they're thinking about, what this moment is like for them, is a way of showing them that we are engaged in their learning, even if they can't engage in a digital classroom. And the last and most critical is really to create intentional tasks. We have the power to take great books and turn them into great instruction by really helping young people focus on the social and emotional themes present in these texts. When we have students read deeply, think critically, talk openly, and write reflectively about topics that really matter to them, that is the difference between a standalone literacy experience and a teaching experience that really equips and empowers young people with new social and emotional competencies. So we're going to spend some time talking a little bit about what these intentional tasks might look like. So in each of these slides, the next 5 slides, we're going to talk about one social and emotional competency, one incredible diverse book, and one instructional activity that helps tie together the social emotional themes and the academic content that you're looking to engage in. So our first best strategy is always to begin every lesson with intention. So when you preview for students before you begin reading a social emotional theme for the day or for the chapter, it becomes like a guiding light for students that threads through every part of a lesson plan. So in this lesson, this is Nicola Yoon's The Sun is Also a Star, which is an incredible novel, an okay movie, but an incredible novel about a young woman on her last day fighting her family's deportation from the United States. And the theme of the day for this session is growing up. The two main characters in the book are both struggling with parental expectations and big choices about where their life will go. And we ask students to connect these themes to their own lives and experiences by reflecting on how they're feeling about growing up and entering the next chapter of their lives. So we might have students do a quick write or a quick conversation, or put up a hand and type something into a chat box. And as you can see, this is an instructional activity that's really designed to cultivate that sense of self-awareness, recognizing your own emotions and values. How do I feel about growing up and entering the next chapter of my life? So then after you read part of your text together, engaging in discussion that's really deeply connected to unpacking the social emotional themes is a powerful resource for engaging our students. This book, The Crossover, is one of the books that I think is the most timely for young people that we're serving right now. It's a book about two young men who are learning from their father his basketball rules of life. And they discover that these rules that they've learned from their father become all the more critical in helping them navigate a crisis that comes on unexpectedly and abruptly in their lives. So in this chapter, after students read, we ask them to think about some self-management questions. Um, when Josh loses his father unexpectedly and is dealing with grief and loss, we ask students, how does Josh handle his father's death? What are some of the emotions he's feeling? How does he express them? Why does Josh choose to turn to basketball instead of an unhealthy coping mechanism to deal with this loss? What are some other healthy ways that he could have coped with his feelings? And how do we care for ourselves when we feel overwhelmingly sad? So in a book that deals with topics like health and helplessness and family and loss and grief and resilience, helping students really specifically unpack in the text how a character experiences their own ability to self-manage their emotions, and giving them an opportunity to reflect on their own self-management tools, their own coping resources, is something that makes a lasting impact on young people, and certainly is something we need to talk about right now. After we discuss reading with our students, we love to give them an opportunity to reflect on the social emotional themes and how they connect to their own individual lives, experiences, and identities. So in discussion, we tend to not ask a lot of questions that would make students feel like they need to share incredibly vulnerable parts of themselves. Um, we keep it instructional by really focusing discussion on the text and the social emotional experiences of the main characters. And then we use writing or journaling as a way to help connect that back to your own life and experience and really open up where this landed with you. So another great book, I Am Malala, which has been so powerful for so many of my students. It's a window text for everyone I've ever placed it in front of. This is a book that, you know, is not going to parallel the experiences of the young people we serve, but it's a powerful force for building empathy. Um, Empathy with what it might be like to not have the right to receive an education, and to have to put your life on the line to fight for that. So here's a book where we ask students to reflect on, you know, in the opening chapter, Malala describes herself as a girl like any other. She shares a bit about her family and herself with the readers. What are some similarities that allow you to connect with Malala, a girl who lives so far away? What are some ways that your lives are really different? What are some surprising similarities and commonalities? And we had an incredible experience teaching this text in a juvenile hall facility with a group of incarcerated young men. And when we put this book down on the desk, it wasn't an immediate. There was an immediate reaction of like, "Nah, I'm not about reading this one." And to hear these young men really start to empathize, like, wow, she goes hard for what she believes in. And what do I really believe in? And I guess I've never thought about what it would be like to not have the chance to go to school. Um, and she got shot in the head. My cousin got shot in the leg, and she's still going for what she believes in. This is a way of building that SEL skill, social awareness, the recognition that the experiences that we can see on the surface of others we encounter in life might not match up with their true self, and that we might be able to find commonalities across difference that surprise us and that we might not initially believe are there. So here's an example of an instructional activity around a diverse text that's designed to concretely cultivate that empathy muscle in young people. We have young people who love to write and are going to eagerly respond to prompts that are put in front of them. And we also have students who need other ways of demonstrating their engagement with the social emotional themes of a text. So we like to use something we call extension activities, which are different, more visual ways of organizing your thoughts and responses to a text. So here's an example of an incredible book, The Hate You Give, which is one of I think the most groundbreaking, relevant, accessible texts that we've provided to students that helps them really understand the difference between personal prejudice and systemic racism, and that helps young people in a really nuanced way empathize with an experience that might be really similar to their own or totally foreign. So here is an activity where we have students really unpack the difference between intention and impact. There's a flash point in the story where the main character, Star, who attends a kind of private elite high school, has a conflict with one of her friends at school who just doesn't understand the Black Lives Matter movement. And there's a big kind of flash between the two friends, and neither one of them understands the other's perspective. And so we guide students through a process of really understanding what was the speaker's intention and what was the impact of her words, and when is the time that's happened in your life when you have intended something and it came across to another person differently, or somebody was trying to communicate something to you, but you felt something different from them. And then really recognizing how power and privilege complicates our intentions and impacts, and how we have to take responsibility sometimes for not just our intentions, but the way that our words impact other people. So as you can see, this is an incredible diverse book, an instructional activity that's asking students to think critically and analyze a text and connect to their own lives. And it's designed to help young people navigate conflicts and relationships in their own lives, one of our SEL competencies. And last, we always have students, we think about creating a place in every reading session where young people can feel like they really shine. And for some of our students, it's through a creative, artistic way to demonstrate and apply their knowledge. So this book is called Inside Out and Back Again, and it's a loose memoir told in prose, telling the story of a young woman who immigrates to the United States after fleeing Saigon and lands in Alabama to total culture shock and a new language to learn, and grief over some of the family members who have not made the journey with her, and who lands in a school where she experiences some bullying and othering for her identity. And so we ask students to connect to this part of the text by thinking about the bullying that might take place in their own schools and community. And we have students create a safe community campaign. So this could be a social media campaign, it could be a poster, it could be a video that helps to explore the questions of what young people think makes a school a safe community, and how every young person can contribute to being a part of that. So another amazing culturally relevant book with an instructional activity that's really designed to build students' ability to make responsible decisions that are about being ethical and balancing their personal and social behavior. So for those who still need convincing that SEL instruction is a game changer for the most vulnerable young people we serve. Um, a massive meta-analysis of over 270,000 students and 213 studies has found that even standalone SEL instruction, not integrated into our core content, even that produces an 11-point academic gain just in and of itself. When we support young people to build social and emotional skills, we create students who feel more self-confident, who are able to navigate their voice in a classroom setting, who are able to advocate for their own learning needs, who are able to take risks, fail, dust themselves off, and try again. These are the skills that we need young people coming out of our schools with. And they also have a massive impact on young people's experience of emotional well-being. So we know that young people who receive social and emotional learning support have better attitudes about themselves, about others, and about adults and their school. So I know we're just about ready to go over to our Q&A, but I just want to close with a call to action. Um, there are not a lot of moments in education where we have an opportunity to build something really new and different that serves all young people. Our students are really counting on us to do exactly that. And my hope is that this conversation might kick off a few reflections, a few new strategies, maybe even a few great books to read with the young people you serve. So I want to thank you for the work that you're doing with young people in your community and for listening to me share a little bit about what has worked for young people in ours. Thank you.